Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Rico back at it again. If you are tuned in for the very first time, this is the Buffalo Fanatics, brought to you by, let me get the first thing. It's the Rico Report, brought to you by Buffalo Fanatics. You got me all effed up on a Tuesday evening. Folks, we got ourselves a banger of a show today. I appreciate you guys tuning in. You guys know what I always say. I appreciate your time, because you guys are taking the time to sit with your boy. So let's hang out. I see you guys hanging out with me. And I brought myself a guest today. I ain't going to do this by myself. We are going to be talking on a lot of Bills football, a lot of outside stuff. My guy, Jeff Landers, is showing up. We call him the veteran. You know what I'm saying? Because that boy, wealth of knowledge. So we're going to do it up. So, y'all know how we do. I got to try to bring a different beat every time, man. Rock with your boy, man. Nobody's doing a show like this. Let's go, folks. I got myself a new jersey. You guys see what I'm doing, man. I'm not much of a jersey guy, but we here. You know what I'm saying? So let me tell you something, man. We're going to talk about comfort. You guys are probably wondering, what the heck are you talking about? We're going to talk about comfort. We're going to be talking about John Fisher College versus doing training camp in Buffalo, right? Orchard Park. We're going to talk on that. We will be speaking on the O-line. We're going to talk about Julio Jones going to the Titans. Throw up. You know what I'm saying? And Dawson Knox. How big is he going to be this year? Folks, we got ourselves in the words of my guy, Z-Bot, we got ourselves a loaded show. So, folks, welcome to the Buffalo Fanatics. This is the Rico Report. And the way we do things is to engage. So welcome. And without further ado, let me bring in my guy, Jeff Landers. Jeff, what's happening, bro?
What's up, Rico? Man, I was feeling that. I was feeling in the club, getting the groove on, you know, not going too hard or too heavy, just kind of relaxing in the club.
Listen, we lounge. Like I'm more of a lounge guy. Right, I used to be in my younger days, go to the club and, you know what I mean, try to do this. Now I need a nice soft loungy vibe. Let me get my drinks, let me get on the couch, and let me just chill. Let me relax.
I got drinks and a couch at home that I can chill at, you know.
Fam, let me tell you something. I don't know, but like this whole COVID thing has kind of switched up the game on us. So when I feel that when things are, I mean, the Americans are doing things a little different because you guys are starting to open up. Actually, you guys have been open up.
Well, let me even tell you. Let me tell you something. The East Coast is doing things a lot differently than we're doing out here in the Wild Wild West. I'm out in Idaho Falls, Idaho. This is mountain territory. This is throwback to the Wild Wild West. They acted like COVID happened for about a month tops,
right?
And I mean, our schools were opened in Eastern Idaho all year long. There was basically no lockdown. Save for, you know, publicly maybe a month or two. And then because the voters out here, if you're up in Ottawa, you got that Emperor Justin Trudeau. You stick him in as governor of Idaho, he doesn't last a day. The voters will have him out. So yeah, even the East Coast is now just coming back to it a little bit. Not out here. We've I took my daughter to the swimming pool today.
See, this is what I'm talking about. See, you guys are living life. See, my problem is when they allow us Canadians to get out, we're going to be a bunch of heathens. We're going to not be able to control ourselves, and we're going to be just wild. So I'm hoping that they're easing us. We're in phases right now. So we're about to jump into phase 1 and then phase 2 and all the way up to phase 5. And hopefully by then we'll be normal human beings. Now, I wanted to bring something up to you, Jeff, because we're talking about lounging. We're talking about having, you know what I mean, since we're getting a little older, we're in a mode of laissez-faire, right? And for those that are wondering what the hell is laissez-faire? Laissez-faire is let it be, just whatever, right? For the French that are here. Now, let me talk to you about something, man. I have to call myself out I've got to call, not Jeff today. Jeff is looking pretty smooth, right? But I've got to call all you men out. And not because you guys are doing bad, but I'm calling myself out because I'm part of it. We, for the last 15 plus months, have been relegated to, I don't know about you guys, but I'll talk about myself, sweatpants, hoodies, slides. That has been my outfit for the last 15. I get home from work, slides, sweatpants, hoodie, t-shirt. That's it. And I was listening to a pod not too long ago, and one of my favorite pods out there, and my man was like, we got to stop. We have to stop. And I bring this up because I was like, when I listened to this pod, I was like, let me go in my closet real quick and let me see what's in my closet. Then I'm like, holy, sweatpants, hoodie, t-shirts, socks and slides. I'm a socks and slides guy, but it's not tube socks. It's ankle socks. That's just what I do. Now,
you don't wear socks and sandals, do you? Please tell me you're above that.
Here's the thing. Sandals is a different ball game. Slides are a different ball game as well. I wear socks and slides. Sandals to me are Birkenstocks. You will never find this guy in a pair of Birkenstocks. And I don't care how everybody tells me, but they're so comfortable. They're mold to your feet.
See, I think in Hawaii they're called slipa, like the foot thongs. Like I got a pair of Tommy Hilfiger foot thongs, leather foot thongs on right now because you see me in a dress shirt, but I'm also in golf shorts and flip flops. That's what I did when I was on TV for 10 years. I would go into the studio with a jacket, a tie, a button down shirt, and golf shorts because you could not see underneath the desk.
My guess right now would say that you're wearing flip-flops, khaki shorts, and the button-up. Am I wrong?
They're gray golf chinos and the button-up.
You know, somewhat similar, but I'll take that. Now, and here's why I bring this up, because we need to stop it, men, okay? We need to, when we get up, instead of putting the sweatpants and the hoodie, you know what? Shower, do your hair, clean up, put some jeans on, put whatever on, so that way you look like a person that belongs. You need to be the old you when we took care of ourselves, because we've gained some weight. I don't care what anybody tells me. Unless you have a home gym and you've been doing it, you're working out, you're keeping fit. We've all gained weight. I know at least I've gained at least 10, easy 10, right? And now we're getting comfortable by wearing, you feel me? Now we're getting comfortable by wearing sweatpants, hoodie, all that stuff, and bump all that. It's time, men, to bring our sexy back. All right. I need to get that off my chest because now after I got cleaned up, I was like, you know what? Who cares? Let my hair just go. Then I was like, hold on a second. Mm-hmm. I look like a different person. And then my wife was looking at me different too. She's like, oh, I was like, oh, now you want to look at me because this whole 15 months, you can, he's all right. Now
you've been around too much, Rico. You've been bugging her. She wants you to go away.
Listen, now she can't, fam.
Listen. But what we're talking about is comfort versus functionality. All right.
Okay.
Like sweatpants, they have their comfort, but they're also very functional. They keep you warm. But to break that, I'm going to go off script and promo a Twitter site, a Twitter handle that I've been following for the last few months. It's called Well Built Style.
Okay.
Well Built Style. Three words all in one Twitter handle. And the dude, whoever's doing it has his game together, giving out advice on how men should look, how a modern day Don Draper should be. Because I would throw it back to Don Draper black suit and a skinny tie if I didn't have my dad bod beer belly,
Listen, but I like this. Plug that in again for me.
So Twitter handle, Well Built Style.
Well Built Style. And I'll even go further. I follow a guy by the name of Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels, apart from his thought process, always clean looking. And that's what we have to be. Wherever we step out of the house, forget the slides, forget the sweatpants, and forget the hoodie. Dress yourself up so we can look formidable when we're out there. We can
does he have shades on in his Twitter pic, in his avatar?
Yes, he absolutely does.
Yeah, that okay. Yeah, that's smooth. The gentlemen, this is what we need to strive for.
I'm just saying, fellas, we need to stop with the nonsense of the sweatpants and all that stuff. It's summertime. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's on their, hot girl summer type of thing. Why can't we be on our hot boy summer in the house? You feel me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Or go to get Tim Hortons or whatever the case is, going for a walk down the damn block. At least look.
Yeah. You single guys, Rico and I are married, but you single guys, you need to be looking your best, because you never know when your Miss Perfect's going to be walking by on the sidewalk next to the river or whatever it is. Like, you single boys need to be ready.
Be ready, because you never know. Ain't nobody looking at you in slides and hoodie and all that stuff. And your hoodie is probably crusted with some Cheetos and some Doritos that you had a couple days ago. So stop the nonsense, clean yourselves up, shave up, and be, you know what I'm saying? Sure, like let's bring our sexy back. Anyway, I wanted to get that off my chest. Now we at it. You know what I'm saying? Jeff.
Yes, sir.
Before we get into it, man, how are you, man? You good?
I'm good, man. I recently got back out on I was wearing a different shirt last few weekends. It was a black and white striped shirt, running up and down the court, getting the whistle out, handing out technical fouls. Right. I've been good, man. Just been busting my butt at work, getting out on the basketball court, and listening to a whole bunch of podcasts, Buffalo Fanatics and some others.
Well, I want you to, because I know you wanted to call me out on something. And I'm ready for it.
Okay.
I look forward to it. And the floor is yours.
All right. So, was it last Monday or maybe a week ago tonight, or you came out in support of Naomi Osaka, which is fine. And the fact that she said she wasn't going to be doing interviews at the French Open for purposes of her mental health. Now, I think she went about it the whole wrong way. And that's fine. If she doesn't want to play, if she pulled out, she ended up pulling out of the French Open because this created such a backlash. Okay. Now, I am all for supporting people to get the correct mental help if they need it. I just felt she went about this whole thing in the complete wrong way. And, you support her. That's great, Rico. Because mental health is important. But I felt it was just a blind support without actually having thought about her being a professional tennis player, the press helping with her brand. Now, I spent 10 years in the sports media, and I can tell you that, there are a few jokers who are going to ask extremely difficult questions that might be off topic. And every once in a while, those get a little too personal. However, every professional athlete has their prerogative to answer how they wish. That question's too much. I'm going to address my game from today. You see it all the time with Sean McDermott.
Okay.
If he thinks a topic that is brought up by a press reporter, he's either going to sidestep or just flat out tell you next question.
Right.
We see it with Bill Belichick all the time, even though he turns out to be quite a bit of an asshole. Absolutely. With his attitude.
Yep.
Okay. So, being a professional tennis player, if you really need help, please go get your mind straight. Go get your mind straight. Come back. Let your talk play out on the court. But you're gonna have to face the press sometime. And she went about it the entire wrong way. And I think that she shouldn't have tried to force it. She was trying to control something that she couldn't control. She was trying to control her environment and not be open to even getting questions about why aren't you doing this? Okay. She was trying to control a situation that really she couldn't control. And, the press, if it's a requirement to meet with the press, and they're paying you big bucks to play professional tennis, meet that requirement. You're going to have to face that challenge someday. And it's a challenge, yes, if you aren't willing to climb the mountain of a challenge, are you really bound and determined to play professional tennis? And I'm not saying she was wrong. If she needs help, go get it. But I would have loved to see her advocate for change in a different way. She tried to control something that she couldn't control, and it backfired on her.
Here's where I disagree, Mr. Landers, because you said she tried to control. Here's the problem. Too often, athletes believe they when they take control, that's when the media doesn't like it. right? Because now the media is not in control of you do this, or you need to be here. Now, I understand there's some people that are like, but that's part of being a professional athlete. You play the sport, and then we have to cover you and ask you questions and this, that, and the third, right? Now, I always bring it as an analogy. Where I work, I have 30 plus employees underneath me, right? They request time off. They do this, they do that. So I have to think long-term instead of short-term. In the short term, I could say denied. You're not going to do X, Y, Z, right? But I really need this time off, right? I can't because I really need you because there's an obligation for you to be here. Okay, it's fine. So in the interim, I have solved my issue of you have to stay here and work. Now, this person comes back and says, you know what? I was going to actually just have the 1 day off, but now I'm going to now take extra time off. And now I'm going to take a week to 2 weeks off because of my mental health or whatever the case is. Now, instead of me helping this person off for that 1 day and saying, you know, I can sacrifice that 1 day, I've lost this person for a week or two. That's what happened in the open. Hey, I'm not going to speak in this tournament. $15,000 fine. Oh, that's what we're going to do? Guess what? One of your best talents, I'm gone. So now go deal with others.
That's why I think she could have gone about it a different way, gotten, maybe a meeting with the I don't know how the organization for the French Open is set up, but maybe a meeting with the president and say, this is what we players need. It's just advocating for for change a different way than by if she had pulled out of the tournament altogether, that's one thing at the beginning, but she tried to force her way into having the ability to play in the tournament and not make the requirements.
Okay.
She tried to have her cake and eat it too that way. Now, if she just said, I need some time off, the French Open, I went to the French Open 2 weeks ago to the president and asked them to make an exemption, and they denied it. I'm just going to take the tournament off. If that had happened before the tournament, okay, understand.
No, not okay to understand. I don't have to explain to you guys why I'm not going to speak. Actually, she actually did, because when I do say something or when he or she says something, you guys are looking for nuggets to try to bring us down. That's the point. You guys,
and I see having been a member of the press for 10 years, I disagree with you on that, because the press is not always trying to attack and bring somebody down. It's when the Bill Belichick start disparaging the press for years and years and years that the press will then start to go on the offensive. Now, Sean McDermott is a master handler of public relations, and we see it because he is respectful in the way he goes about next question, or, he will sidestep in a professional manner. Because 99.9% of questions are fair, except for, you get a hypothetical, hey, why'd your mom cheat on your dad? Well, that's not really relevant to the game or the tournament with just what happened, right? Those are the unfair questions. If facing public speaking gives you anxiety, I understand that, but one of those things that you need to tackle is that mountain that you need to climb, is that challenge. To get to where you want to be as a professional, go ahead and tackle that just like you would the weights, just like you would your backhand or your spiral.
Check this out. You weren't with me shooting in the gym. All right? That's number one. So I don't got shit to tell you or anybody else. I don't play for the media. I play for the love of the game.
And that's what she should be saying to the media. I don't have to
tell you that. I go to the gym and do all that stuff for me and because I love the game. I don't got to tell you guys anything. If my mental is not there, guys, I'm taking the time off, because here's what's going to happen now. Let's just say I've been fighting myself to not speak, but I have to do it because this is what's happening. And then I see someone that's brave enough to say, I'm not speaking. Then I'm like, see, that's what I want to do. And if I'm a big name as well, you know what, guys? I'm going to do the same thing she's doing, because you guys clearly don't respect her because you're about to fine her. So now what if all the athletes are like, you know what? I ain't speaking. What you going to do? You're going to fine them all? You guys are going to lose money. Here's the problem. This whole situation is outdated, right? We're in a world of everybody is somewhat in a mental state of weakness, if you will, and I may be using my words incorrectly here, but mental health is at a forefront. It's at the forefront right now. So if you see that things are moving in a different way, this is where you adjust and adapt. These guys are trying to stay in their old ways. Hey, you play the sport, you talk about the sport, and that's what it is. Whoa, bitch, I don't got to do shit. And you know what? I got social media.
I think you're misinterpreting because
I got my Instagram. If I want to talk to my audience, I can. I don't need to talk to y'all, but that's just my opinion.
See, then that's the other thing where social media has brought us to the point of I can have my control of my message so specifically through my Instagram account.
Yes.
That goes to, but if you don't get asked questions, maybe there's a different angle on something that you're not even seeing. Maybe it could be a positive. If you don't get asked questions, you might never ever see it from that other positive angle because your PR team is failing on your Instagram. Now there's always negatives with positives. There always is.
Absolutely.
Okay. And it is your prerogative if somebody asks you a question to answer it the way you want. Yep. And that's what public relations is. That's why I would suggest she get a public relations professional on her team throwing starbursts at her face in practice settings. Like, no, don't answer it that way. You ever seen the movie Gone Girl? Where I think it's who's the lawyer in that? I can't forget the name as an actor. He's throwing it at Ben Affleck's face, jelly beans at his face when he's trying to prep him for that interview. Like, don't answer it. Like, this is the way you're going to answer. And that's why I think I say Sean McDermott is a master at handling this. I just think she went about it the wrong way. I'm not saying she's wrong. I think she went about it the wrong way.
And the thing is, and some people are questioning that, and I'm not going to stay too long on this, but you have the opposite of a guy like Marshawn Lynch that can go in there and say, yep, I've got my time.
Exactly. I'm here so I don't get fined. I'm only here so I don't get fined.
Right. And I'm going to grab my phone. I'm going to put a timer on there and then be polite and answer. How great does that look on TV? It's entertaining for the first 2-3 minutes. And then you're like, yo, this is a waste of our time, man. Get this guy off here because he doesn't want to be here. So don't put someone on TV that does not want to be there. That's just the way I look at it.
And that's exactly, she could have done that. She would have been able to compete further into the tournament. I'm only here so I won't get fined.
But let me tell you this. I guarantee you things are going to change when it comes to the media press and so on and so forth because someone took a stand. It only takes one person to take a damn stand and say, enough. My mental health is more important than you sitting in front of you guys and for you guys to berate me or ask me questions that I don't want to answer and then I look like an asshole and so on and so forth. So things will change. We'll see how it changes. I do think that there is a standard that athletes should still be able to speak, but maybe they'll change it as not all the time, or I have no idea. But I'm not on the board. But at the end of the day, man, if I'm not ready to speak because I'm not mentally there to speak to you guys, then you're going to get a lot of outbursts and you don't want that because then it makes me look bad. So instead of me doing that, I'm going to walk off because how many times Ryan Leaf, right?
Yeah.
They're up in his face in the freaking locker room and he nearly freaking whooped some guy's ass. You feel me? So you don't want that. Theo crying on freaking screen. Like those are times men don't want to be vulnerable, but the media is there for the sound bites and we love it. Right. Anyway.
But see, we only remember those outbursts. We don't remember how many interviews did Michael Jordan give in front of his locker after every game? You know, he could be a little bit snippy, especially if the Bulls lost. But that was his prerogative. You have an opportunity to go out and control your message and be professional by using your voice to other people. You don't have to have such complete tight control because you're so used to being on social media all the time that one little snippet of errant message or some writer misconstrues you and you freak out. You can go out there and be professional.
We got it.
And control your message.
I'm with that.
I just think she went about it the wrong way.
Hey, listen, agree to disagree, but you made some great points. Don't get me wrong. You gave some great points. So it's going to be interesting on how they go about it going forward. Now, let's get into some Bills chatter because there are things.
Oh, is this a Bills show? I almost forgot about that.
Let's go. So training camp. A lot of people are boo-hoo-hooing because training camp is not going to be in Rochester anymore. But that's my opportunity to go to see the Bills and to see the camp and so on and so forth, right? And I'm speaking from a position because I don't live in Rochester. I don't live in the United States. So I'm used to just not seeing these guys, right? But for those that go every year and it's a time to bond with your dad or your uncle or your brother and get to see the players and get autographs and stuff, it's a tough time for people that are from Rochester, right? I think St. John Fisher College. Mm-hmm. So they will not, for the second straight year, be going to camp. Is that something that most people like? Is it a big deal?
If you ask Zach Vaughn in our private Twitter chat, it's a huge deal. You know, the head writer for Buffalo Fanatics is from Rochester, lives there, and you know, he's rather upset about this. But for us, who like I'm in Idaho, there's no way I'm making it back for training camp. Right. Look, this is a W for the football staff, but an L for the marketing departments of both the Bills and St. John Fisher. I'm from central New York State, about 2 hours away from Rochester, and I still probably wouldn't have heard of St. John Fisher if it hadn't have been for the Bills. I wouldn't have considered going there had it not been for the Bills. So it's a major loss for the marketing department of St. John Fisher. It's a loss for the marketing department of the Bills, who want to get on the road and extend that handout to the fans of Rochester and the surrounding areas in the Great Lakes, who it makes it easier for them to get there. But those facilities in Orchard Park, we get to stay in our equipment room with our own weights, with our own sleep pods inside the building, with our own infrared saunas and cold tubs. All of that the Pagulas spent so much money on.
Thank you.
That is a massive W for both the football and medical staffs.
And let me tell you something. Last year, we didn't go to St. John Fisher, and we ended the season with 13-3. So,
yes, sir.
Folks, if for those that are stitious, right, superstitious, if you will, keep up with not going to St. John Fisher. And I think they're in their last year of their deal anyway. So,
this was the last year of the deal. Now, I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. And let me tell you something. Since 2000, when the Bills were at St. John Fisher, they had a 17-year playoff drought and an 0-2 playoff record. They leave St. John Fisher. Now they're 2-1 in the playoffs.
Thank you. Listen, we ain't going back. We're not going back. We don't need to go back to St. John Fisher. I'm not a lawyer, and this is not legal advice, but here's what I've been through enough of the legal process. I think that this is what you do if you are St. John Fisher. You just send the Bills now I'm going to forget my legal phrasing, a notice of default. Okay. You tell the Bills, you're in default of our contract. You did not fulfill the final 2 years of our contract. That lets their legal team know that St. John Fisher knows. Yes. Well, St. John Fisher is not going to let the Bills off the hook for it. So you send them the notice of default. That should get the Bills to the bargaining table to say, whether it's monetary damages, I don't know. If you could prove that for 2 years after having been there for 18 previous years, I'm not sure you could prove monetary damages, but you could at least, if you're St. John Fisher, maybe get the right of first refusal out of the Bills. So if the Bills decide they want to go on the road 2 years down the road from now for a training camp and say it's Fredonia or over my shoulder here, St. Bonaventure, which right now really wouldn't have the facilities, but the Bills want to go somewhere else on the road for training camp, I get the right of first refusal. You're not going there. You're going to come here for at least this year to fulfill that contract. So, the situation is not over yet, so don't despair if you're from Rochester. I think this is very much a COVID protocol thing. The Bills could very well still come back in 2022. So funny that you mentioned the and I'm glad you jumped into that, because it's like we're on it with each other, because yes, there is a matter of COVID being the issue. I'm sure of it, because a lot of people have been vaccinated, this, that, and the third. And apparently I read something here, and I wanted to try to remember as best I can. But here, at the end of the day, I'm going to paraphrase here. People that are allowed at John Fisher College are people that are fully vaccinated. You will not be allowed to go into John Fisher without being fully vaccinated. So I guarantee you, had the team been completely fully vaccinated, they're at St. John Fisher. Now, because the team is not, And I still stand by it at this point. Not a lot more so than more players are not vaccinated than those that are. For those that were crying out saying, you guys don't have any sources in this, that. All right, cool. We're just going to wait, right? So the fact of the matter is this. A lot of that, I think, has to do with why these guys aren't at John Fisher. Hey, how many of you guys are vaccinated? Oh, not a whole lot of y'all? Can't do it. Don't care if you're a player. Don't care if you're the Buffalo Bills. It's not happening. If you're vaccinated, come on in. It's all yours. But COVID related and the fact that the comfort level of being over in Orchard Park with the facilities that they have, number one, they get to be and sleep in their own beds. Number two, you can't go wrong with that. And number three, the fact that you said you're not superstitious, but you're little stitches, dude. We did very well without having to go and be at St. John Fisher. So I stand on that. Could it be a difference maker? I mean, go ahead. Y'all don't rip me for it. Go ahead and read what the rules are for St. John Fisher for you to be able to even be accommodated over there. Yep. Go see it for yourself. Don't just listen to me. Go read it for yourself, and then don't get all your hair in a twist and all that stuff, because that's just what it is. So maybe that has a lot to do with it. But I digress. I'm gonna leave it at that. Now, speaking of training camp, I want to ask you a question, my man. We're looking at this roster, and I'm looking at the running back room. I'm looking at the defensive back room, and I'm also looking at the O-line. And the O-line, we're going to touch on that just a little bit more later on. But more specifically, this running back room and the DB room. Are there any, and this is off the cuff here, are there any position battles that you're looking forward to? We already know about RB1, RB2, right? Yeah.
Moss and Singletary. Or as our guy Judge likes to call him Drank Sore after Frank Gore, his baby Frank Gore now, with how big he got.
This might be an unpopular opinion here, all right? And I know we needed speed, but is Breida, is he a lock for this roster? Because I'm looking at this roster here, right? You've got Singletary, Moss, you've got Breida, you've got Wade, and you've got Williams. You got five.
I thought Wade's last year of an exemption was last year, but apparently he's getting another exempt year on the practice squad. Somebody might be able to correct me if I'm wrong. So I only see Christian Wade being on this roster if he can return kicks and maybe first of all, it would be the exemption. We'll keep him on the roster. And then if that doesn't happen, maybe he can be the kick returner. I don't see him ever really getting a handoff on this roster. I just don't see it happening.
I
believe it was you were pounding the table for Antonio Williams last year.
Okay, let's talk about it now. Because I'm not saying that Antonio Williams is a world beater, but he showed us something in that Dolphins game. Small portion size of it, but he showed us enough that you're like, let me bring this guy back to see what he's got.
At the very least, he took advantage of his opportunity. And that's what you want as a coaching staff. This kid got handoffs, took advantage. Number one, he showed that he wanted it. That right there is enough to get a second look in training camp. Now, it depends on what style Daboll wants, because it's all going to be about the offense. And Singletary and Moss were draft picks. Not that I don't think the coaching staff plays favorites to organizational draft picks. I think McDermott has proven that if you're playing well, you're going to play. The best player plays, or the best 5 offensive linemen as a group play. I don't think that they will stick to, Singletary and Moss were draft picks. So that will open the door for Breida to prove himself, for Antonio Williams to prove himself. Tywan Jones, probably going to be an exclusive special teamer.
For sure.
As he has been. So he's almost a lock to make the roster. So do you want Antonio Williams or Matt Breida on the active roster? And this is what we were going to lean into a little bit, an intrinsic value versus extrinsic value. And I didn't do enough stats preparation on Breida and Williams, but we do have a couple of other positions. And how does Brandon Beane value those two guys? Which one has the intrinsic value of this is something I want on my roster? It's tangible what this player brings.
Mm-hmm.
And then the extrinsic value, all of the stuff that this player brings with him that might not be tangible.
Absolutely. So here's my thing with when it comes to those two, intrinsic and extrinsic, right? You're looking at let's hit the running back room before we move on to the other positions, right? Singletary, they like a lot. I think they liked him a lot when he was with Frank Gore. I think they expected a little bit more from him last year. But then we brought in another back in Zach Moss, and all year long, I saw almost a battle of like, okay, who do we want as our number one back? Okay, let's give him more touches. Okay, let's get this guy more touches. Zach Moss started getting a little more touches in the game when late in the stretch of the season. So now this year comes around. One thing we lacked was speed. So here comes Matt Breida. But then Williams showed me something that sometimes beats the speed. It's the north-south running and vision. If you can get 4, 5, 6 yards a pop as a running back, and maybe this is what Dable's seeing.
And that's all I said it all last season, that this offensive running game, the running game does not need to be elite. We need 4 yards a pop to move the chains. 4 yards, 4 yards, 4 yards is a first down. We don't need the 50-yard breakaway type Derrick Henry runner. We don't need that as in this offense.
We're very explosive in the air that you're right. We don't necessarily need that. We just need someone that is going to move the sticks. That's why I'm thinking I like the Breida addition. It's a 1 year, less than $1 million. So at any point, they could be like, it's not working out for us, because we feel that these guys that we have up here are just as fine. And Williams could be that in-between type of back, because he can be explosive. He can take it the distance if he wants to, not the speed that Breida has. But to me, 18. Do you know what? I don't know who. I think it was one of our own guys that did it, but I'm not sure. After this, I'm not thinking quite clearly right now. But we averaged 17 carries a year last year. 17. The most we had was that New England game where I think we rushed 28 times, but we had like 200 and plus freaking yards rushing. We only run the ball 18 times a game. So
how many of those come from Josh Allen?
I think it was just running backs alone.
Okay.
So it's going to come down to these two backs. So Breida, whether it's going to be a running back by committee, which I'm not a big fan of, because I want one guy to get the majority of the touches, because the more touches you get, the more in tune you are with the game, and the more you're able to break things out, right? A la Derrick Henry. You give him more touches, he wears you down, and all of a sudden he's taking off for 60. I feel that Breida may not be locked on to make this team, man. We're about to find out, because the type of back that we need for this squad is one that is going to move the sticks, vision, pass block, all that good stuff, and we'll see how this goes down. Now, intrinsic versus extrinsic. This is the question here. So to me, a guy like Antonio Williams didn't get as many opportunities. So the gain is not to get love and all this stuff. It's more so to I want to show you how much I love this game, and I was showing you against the Dolphins. I've been cut, I've been brought back, I've been cut again. The amount of motivation this guy has to show that he can belong on this team, I'm rooting to see what he's got. It's going to be a very interesting camp at the running back position. I hope they don't just lock it in with just Breida and those three. I want to see Antonio Williams part of this mix. I'm looking forward to it. We'll see how it plays out. Like you said, Tywan Jones, that's a lock to make special teams. I mean, they love this dude. But man, having all those backs on the team, only running the ball 18 times, man, something's got to give. I'm hoping somebody comes out of this as the number one guy and says, okay, I'm ready to take lead. But we're going to find out. We'll see how this plays out. But how are you feeling on this running back room?
You know, I like it just because of the way our offense is built. And I tend to agree with Bobby. It's Moss and Motor and nobody else, fellas. So that's the way I look at it. It's either of their jobs to lose, really. I mean, we've seen how the motivation that Devin Singletary has had this offseason. Just he had talked to the press today, and he said, basically the way his body changed, he said he's only gained 2 pounds. because we know I think muscle weighs more than fat, right? Do I have that way, or is it fat weighs more than muscle? One of the other is more dense. I feel a little dense right now myself, but
I hear you. I think we all do.
I think muscle weighs more than fat because it is more dense. So just the way he changed his body, and he dropped his body fat percentage, and he only changed his overall weight by 2 pounds. Like, I think that's motivation right there.
So let me ask you this: who breaks out this year? We're not running back.
Anybody?
RB1.
Who becomes RB1? If I had to guess right now, I think it's University of Utah, Zach Moss. And I don't have any reason other than just a gut feeling on that one, wanting to come back from that injury. But then again, I could be completely wrong, and it could be Singletary who wants to come back from that dropped pass against the Chiefs.
See, I was leaning towards Zach Moss taking over as RB1, but I see visually the work that Singletary is doing, and I think he wants to get back to rookie year season where he had major success. But our offense is completely different, where we are not as balanced as people may think. We are throwing the ball way more than we want to, run the ball on the ground. So RB1 this year, I don't think we're gonna get an RB1. I just don't think so. But Dable doesn't see it that way, man. He doesn't see a bell cow runner. He's just gonna spread that shit out because what he wants is to air the damn ball out. That's what he's done. Mm-hmm. That's what he's been doing. And don't forget, you mentioned it earlier, is that you got our quarterback that is 8 touchdowns. He can get yourself 5 to 8 touchdowns a year, easy.
Our quarterback has more rushing yards than New York Giants Saquon Barkley, who was a second overall pick. So I'm not worried about our running backs. And Bills fans, if this makes sense, I'm not worried about our running backs, and Bills fans should worry more about the running backs than they do the tight ends. Does that make more sense?
I'm with you.
I'm not worried about our tight ends. People seem to be so worried about that tight end position, and the running backs are going to be more important.
You're not worried because you feel that we have the talent in the room, or you're not worried because we're hardly going to throw the ball to them because we're going to be throwing to the receivers?
Exactly.
Okay. Because I had to make clear. I'm not worried about him. Hold on. Let me double back.
Here's that intrinsic versus extrinsic value, and here's two of the players because Zach Ertz is still out there. He's that rumor's still circulating.
It is still circulating. Apparently, we were supposed to sign him, but we're still sitting on our hands. I guess so. I guess some people get it wrong too, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things I got to put out there. I got to keep it a buck. Go ahead.
Here's the intrinsic thing about Zach Ertz is he's proven and he's had tangible results. We know this package that Zach Ertz is. He's a leader. He's a McDermott type of guy. We know these things about him. He's been there, done that in the Super Bowl.
Type of guy. What does that mean?
What did we talk about? He's going to put his head down. He's going to be quiet. He's going to work his ass off. He's going to answer every question asked of him. He's going to tackle every challenge required of him. He's going to not only do it by example, but he's going to lead by example and lead the young guns in Dawson Knox. Okay, that's the McDermott process guy. Okay, now here's the extrinsic value that Zach Ertz. Here's a negative value. This is a knock against him extrinsically, is you're giving up assets for a short time. Another negative one. Can he positively impact Knox? I think he can, but that could also be negatively. It depends. Maybe the two personalities, boom, blow up, and that's a question we don't have. That's intrinsic. Could he put the Bills over the top? I'm actually, after looking at a little bit of the stats, I think he actually could help that passing game just take that extra step forward. And extrinsically, could we keep him away from the Colts, who might be looking to give up a little bit more for Ertz now that their division opponent, the Tennessee Titans, went and got Julio Jones? Did Ertz's price tag go up because the Colts are now going to be bidding for him to match what Tennessee did?
Nah.
You don't see it. Okay, that's fine. It's a question I'm asking.
For sure.
I asked a question and you answered it with your prerogative on how you wanted to answer. if you see how that works.
You listen, and I'm gonna keep that same energy. Now, here's the thing when it comes to the tight end room. Bringing in Zach Ertz will be cool. Don't get me wrong. If we brought him in, that's just more talent on the team, right? Nothing wrong with that. Veteran guy. I love what you just did. I love what you just said there. Will he be able to push a guy like Dawson Knox? And this is actually perfect because we can jump right into the Dawson Knox, Zach Ertz chatter. Dawson Knox has now been part of this tight end university club that's happening right now. He's going to be surrounded by guys that do the damn job, that do their work as a tight end. Your Travis Kelce's, your George Kittle's, your retired now Greg Olsen, right? These are guys that have had success in the game. And a guy like Dawson Knox definitely brings your athletic ability up. What did he score? A super high RAS score. He had a really high RAS score. So his athletic ability is not the issue. It's his focus. It's his attention to detail, right? And those are the things he lacked. So bringing a Zach Ertz in, when you have a guy that's going to tight end university, he's going to learn a few things here and there and then bring it onto his own. And the amount of times that we freaking target this guy, what did he have? 23 catches? Less than 30 catches?
Over 2 seasons right now, he's had 94 targets.
94 targets. And how many of these did he catch? How many receptions?
He's caught 52 of them.
52 receptions, so
right? His catch percentage is 55.3. Compare that to Ertz's first 2 years, only his first 2 years. Ertz had a catch percentage of 65.2. Okay. So it's 9.9 points higher than Knox in the first 2 seasons of each of their career. And he had 94 receptions for almost 1,200 yards. So
do you think it's necessary to you think it's necessary to have Zach Ertz on this team? Honestly,
not necessary, but an additional bonus. Yes, it would just be. But here's where, because Dawson Knox went and got I think it was a vision coach. I think I read a story about how he was working on a jugs machine with a vision coach and working on what you said, that capacity to concentrate on the ball as it's coming into my hands. That's that extrinsic value. That's the potential that we see with a guy like Dawson Knox, who is going into his 3rd year. The coaching staff has proven to be patient with guys if they continue to show progress. They did it with Josh Allen. First and foremost, is the biggest name that they've been patient with, and they got the results in year 3. Now, I know it's apples and oranges, quarterback and tight end, because Dawson Knox was a quarterback, then transitioned to tight end at Ole Miss. We know that Ole Miss does not throw to their tight ends at all. Bobby's right. An upgrade is an upgrade. It would be a bonus, but I still think there's time for Dawson Knox, given this coaching staff's approach.
And listen, and there's not a wrong answer with bringing Zach Ertz to the team. That's a positive, no matter how you slice it and how you look at it. Now, what Dawson Knox decides to do with a potential addition of Zach Ertz, that's going to be on him. This is where we're going to find out what he's really made of. Going into year 3? It's going to be year 3 now. Going into year 3, we're going to find out what you're really made of, because now they've brought someone to pretty much take your snaps. How do you respond? That's what it's going to come down to. And there are some people that just fold, don't respond. Damn it, I lost my job and I'm down and out. Or
here's something that Knox does bring to the table. He's changed positions and he's completely survived his first 2 years of the NFL. Is Knox a failure? No, I don't think he's a failure at all. He's not a natural tight end. This is the draft and develop strategy that Brandon Beane has talked about. We're going to draft our guys that we value. We're going to place a value on guys. We're going to draft them. We're going to develop them. We've seen this. We need to see that development right now. That's what Knox, he has to just take another step forward. And if he can show that linear development, he will be given more time by the coaching staff because he's getting better. Because it's Brandon Beane's draft and develop and re-sign strategy. Now, after this year, let's say he takes a step back. Then Brandon Beane probably is looking at a high tight end. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not Brandon Beane. But it's that draft and develop strategy. And I said it all last half of last year. that we should get ready to lose Matt Milano to free agency because of the Brandon Beane draft and develop strategy, because we're not going to be able to re-sign all of our guys that we draft. We got lucky with Matt Milano and getting to keep Darrell Williams. That's where the culture comes in, because now guys are wanting to say, I want to make a run at it with this team that I've been a part of. So Knox is part of that draft and develop strategy, that extrinsic value that the Bills have placed on really a bet on their own coaching staff with Dawson Knox.
Nick G came in and he says, Knox is still a massive dude and decent. He just needs to put blocking and receiving together this year. Hopefully the window's not closed on that. Now, here's the thing. I know development is key. You want your guys to develop. You want to see your guys that you've brought in to have success. But how much patience should one have with a player? Look, they brought in Hollister. Hollister is not just some guy. Hollister is an athletic guy, and the one key component that people are not really maybe not putting two and two together, Hollister is familiar with Josh Allen. So there's going to be some kind of chemistry there, right? Sweeney coming back. That's going to be something that stands out as well. And now you have Dawson Knox that isn't the sole guy right now. So this is going to be a very interesting camp to say the least.
Well, he wasn't the sole guy last year either, but he managed to keep Tyler Kroft off the. No, Tyler Kroft was around.
What, please, man, Tyler Kroft.
He was around. I mean, you're going to take Tommy Sweeney over Tyler Kroft?
Yes, 100%.
Okay,
if Tommy Sweeney were healthy, I can't say I guarantee.
Okay, I'll give you that
he would have been over Tyler Kroft. And it's not a down on Tyler Kroft. It's just Tyler Kroft never really gave us anything that was like, oh yes, no.
Tommy Sweeney has not gotten to the field, so he's an intangible.
Yeah.
What's the word I'm looking for? A potential, intangible potential. If I could speak tonight, that's where your values come in for Brandon Beane. We have not seen Tommy Sweeney on the field.
Fam, Tyler Kroft.
Period.
Tyler Kroft.
I'm not saying he's better, but we just haven't seen Tommy Sweeney on the field.
I understand. And when Tommy Sweeney was on the field, when he was healthy, the chemistry was you could see it. That's why he's still on this roster, right? Now, Tommy Sweeney coming in, we let's just talk about it. We don't know too much about Tommy Sweeney. We don't know too much about Tommy Sweeney at this point, right? But I will say this though. Dawson Knox cannot rest on his laurels now. He can't just say, I'm the guy. Hollister's there. Tommy Sweeney's going to be showing up. There's conversation with Zach Ertz. So what that tells me is, fam, if you don't get it together this year, we're going to move on from you. We are going to move on. There comes a time
where draft and develop strategy.
And how long do you give time to develop? I guess that's the real question. In your opinion,
you can give them the contract if they keep inching. Now, if they keep inching forward, maybe you give them the contract and said, well, you haven't come far enough.
Have you inched forward?
What's that?
Has he inched forward? Has he given you enough to say, yeah, he did get better? Or did you see the same old Dawson Knox?
No, I don't think he had. I think he inched forward, but you also have to remember they didn't have a preseason for year number 2 for Dawson Knox. Okay,
I see you, Jeff.
Okay. Now they threw him right in. Listen, they pretty much gave Josh Allen 3 years. Now, again, apples to oranges. They saw a huge leap forward from Josh Allen. Dawson Knox has to take a statistical, tangible step forward this year in order to be around in 2022. Get the bell out, buddy.
Let me get the bell out. Gotta give a guy to my guy, Jeff Danger. What's up, Jeff Danger? Jeff Danger, welcome to the damn Bing squad. Bing, biggity, bing. Listen, man, we added members, man. So I appreciate Jeff Danger coming through. Jeff Landers is on the show with me. It's the Rico Report brought to you by Buffalo Fanatics. Let's go. So listen, I get all that great stuff that we're talking about. And you make a great point. We had to go through no camp. So I'll give you that. Now we're going to have camp. Now we have all those things. We're about to find out what's really good with our guy Dawson Knox. And that's what it's going to come down to.
Now, I had all of that conversation without actually looking at my Dawson Knox notes. Now, one of the biggest first thing I wrote on my notes right here won't get 100 plus targets like Waller or Kelsey.
Will not.
He will not, the tight end position will not be targeted 100 times like Waller out in Las Vegas or Kelsey in Kansas City. So that maybe allows you for a little bit more time of progress to inch forward, to say, we're okay, but Knox must take advantage of those limited targets. He can't drop touchdown passes. He can't do it. We've seen that a couple of times with him. His catch percentage must go up, only 55% through 2 years. And he was ranked 41st among tight ends in 2020 with 24 receptions. So he's got to take advantage of those limited targets. And then again, those are what we see as fans. Yeah. What are the coaching staff seeing? So he gets maybe 60 to 75 snaps a game. How many of those are coming up with pluses on, did you do your job? When the coaches are grading, did you do your job? Did you do your assignment? Okay, didn't do it on that. Dropped a touchdown pass. That's a negative check. Okay, what is the coaching staff seeing? We're only seeing the reception stats. There's not really a stat for blocking.
Let me tell you something. There's something that is not being talked about when it comes to the tight end and receiving position, right? And we could talk about the numbers all you want, right? Catch at 55%, and maybe he's inched forward because statistically he's gone up. But when you drop a ball, then you drop a second, your confidence drops. It goes down. So now you are thinking about everything under the sun except for catching the damn football, right? And that is where we need Dawson Knox to come in. We don't need you to catch 80 to 100 balls. But when we do throw you the ball, because we don't throw it to you often, but when we do, you got to catch the ball. I don't know if you noticed it, but I did. I'd say the last 5 to 6, 7 games of the season, they stopped sending him deep. They stopped sending him on those deep dig routes and these out routes. They stopped doing it. They started giving him short little throws to do what? To build his confidence, because his confidence was shit. So Buddy has to go to tight end university, get it together, because this offense is not built to just go to the damn playoff. It's built to go to a freaking Super Bowl. And we need our tight end. We need our guy to catch the balls that we need you to catch. And that's as simple as that. No more bullshit. Because now Hollister is going to come in and say, hey, man, let me get a piece of that. Zach Ertz is like, hey, I might come to Buffalo because I know you guys don't have that guy right there. So Dawson Knox, get it together or you gone next year, my guy. I'm just saying, man, because they're going to start developing and getting guys that are going to do the job.
I don't disagree with it. If he hasn't taken another step forward, that, maybe we need to address that position. But for right now, he's got that leash. He's got that leash to. But you know what? Dropping passes, we've seen it with McDermott. Dropping passes has a longer leash than running backs fumbling the ball with McDermott. Running back fumbles the ball, McDermott, you're sitting on the bench and thinking about it for half a game. We've seen it time and time again. I think it was McDermott's first year. I can't remember who they brought in. McDermott's first year. First preseason game, fringe running back came in, fumbled the ball. Boom, he was on the bench. We didn't see him the rest of the game. We saw it with Singletary against these. Was it 40? It was in Arizona. I forget if it was the 49. It was the 49ers game. He fumbled basically on his own goal line. He sat that first half. So that leash for dropping balls is a little bit longer than running backs fumbling the ball, and that's why I say Bills fans should always worry about the running backs more than the tight ends, and not worry about the running backs.
I hear you, and you just got me thinking of something when you said fumbling on the goal line. Let me tell you something else that's not going to get you on the damn field. If you can't pass block and you can't protect your quarterback, you ain't seeing the field. That's a big problem right now, and that is what kept Zach Moss on the field. His abilities to protect quarterback, along with Devin Singletary. Devin Singletary isn't as bad as I thought in terms of protecting the quarterback. So we're going to see a lot of that. And if you want to stay on this field, you better run the damn rock, hold on to the rock, and you better be able to pass block and catch out of the backfield, man. So this is going to be a very interesting camp. Now, I do want to bring something up that did happen though. In OTA,
We gonna talk about that little melee?
Oh, the melee. You know exactly what's
melee.
going on.
I know what you're gonna bring up.
It turns out there was a little scuffle. There was a little bit of a fisticuff that went down with John Feliciano and AJ Epinesa. Now, let me based on some reports from a lot of the beat writers that are covering the Bills right now. Now we're not allowed there. And here's the thing that kills me with this whole media nonsense that's going on right now. You can't say what kind of play happened. You can't say who did what and how was the interception done. It was just interception by AJ Epinesa, probably a tip ball, something of that nature. And you take it back to the house. Now, the fact that John Feliciano caught you from behind, very interesting. So Feliciano's all of a sudden, he's got some motor now. Okay. And the fact that AJ Epinesa was like, nah, fam, and he throws the ball at Feliciano. Okay. I got a little nasty in my defensive end. I'm good with that because we already know what John Feliciano brings to the table. He's a mauler. He's a shit. You'll get at
He's the nasty. Listen, when it comes to Feliciano, here's what I like to say about the Bills. Every single Buffalo Bill, if you had to ask them, who would you take into a dark alley to go into a brawl with? I think every player on that team would tell you Josh Allen. Josh Allen, who would he tell you?
He'd probably tell you John Feliciano. For sure.
John Feliciano. I think Josh Allen is the guy who would absolutely take John Feliciano into a back alley for a little, backyard brawl, defend your turf. Every other Bill, I think, wants Josh Allen because he brings the same type of mentality. He is the alpha dog in the locker room. Josh has taken Feliciano. So we know Feliciano has that bulldog, that junkyard dog in him. He's just coming at you.
See, and I haven't seen the play on this interception.
We probably won't.
I guess there's some footage of it.
I have not seen it. Is that on Twitter?
I haven't seen it yet, but apparently maybe it happened in the end zone. So maybe that's how Feliciano, because I'm like, I can't see Feliciano chasing down AJ Epinesa. But
I mean, if it was only 20 yards, it might be a little different story, depending on where the offensive was.
Here's the thing that I take away from this, though. I take away that AJ Epinesa isn't going to take shit from a veteran guy, O-line hoggy, best friends with Josh Allen, John Feliciano. No, fuck all that shit. You're gonna try to pull some shit. Here, eat this ball right now, and now we're gonna have to put some hands a little bit.
We saw it in the AFC Championship game. Josh Allen getting that 15-yard penalty at the end of the game.
I hear that throwing the football. I mean, I didn't like that move.
And listen, I wrote this down. I love this team getting into a little bit of a melee in OTAs because this is not one of those frustrated team losing fights. Yes. This is that brothers are allowed to fight.
You're damn right.
And they're gonna fight all the time. Brothers, they're going to have it out with each other. That's what this was. This wasn't my team freaking sucks. I'm frustrated. I'm pissed off. I'm just going to let everything out. No. That's not what this is. Lorenzo tweeted out that, Feliciano's always looking for somebody to scrap with.
Maybe he found the right one.
maybe it's just we've got serious competition in OTAs because this team knows how close we are to that ultimate goal. We were so close last year that in OTAs, we've got serious competition going on, and we're going to the team. Now, I always say we, but I know some people hate that. But the team is going to come closer because of it, because they got that shit out. Yeah, maybe they'll do it again because they're brothers. They're going to fight again. Brothers always do, but they get closer because of it. And another thing, this is the McDermott process right here. Get used to it and handle the intensity right now. That way, down the road, when you're climbing that mountain, you're used to it. You know how to handle it. You're not going to chuck the ball at somebody's face. And then you can answer questions about it afterward.
Yo, my man Truth to Heart says, the only logical sense is Feliciano missed a block and Epinesa benefited from it and felt embarrassed. Yo, it could be, man. I don't know. Now, you know what? This is a great way to jump into our next topic. It's about the O-line, man. It's about I'm going to thank Truth to Hearts for that. And shout out to AJ Epinesa for standing up for yourself and whipping the ball back at Feliciano. You ain't gonna be punked. You ain't gonna be disrespected because you know what? You a damn man, and you're not about to be punked by anybody. So you stand up for yourself. Attaboy, AJ Epinesa. Now let's get to the O-line. I'm just gonna straight up ask you: are you happy the fact that we brought everybody back exactly the same way to run it back for the 21 season? John Feliciano.
Did you see our draft?
I did see our draft.
Did you see our we brought everybody back, but you know what? We're not letting them use a term that you used earlier in the show. We're not letting them rest on our laurels.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because Spencer Brown could very, very well Wally Pipp somebody right on out of the lineup. Probably Darrell Williams. Darrell Williams could become trade bait, It's possible. I'm not saying it's likely to happen, but that's the way Brandon Beane thinks. We've seen that before. Because here's the thing. We brought everybody back just as it is. Who started the last 8 games left to right? Let me make sure I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The last 8 games left to right.
All right. So Dawkins, it was Butker Butker and I think it was Butker. Then you had a mix of Feliciano and Morris, and then Feliciano at right guard, and then you had Darrell Williams at right tackle. The only mainstays were left and right tackle, and a little bit of center. So,
Deion Dawkins and Darrell Williams started every game.
Perfect.
All of the games. Now, the last 8 games on the offensive line, Ike Butker played 100% of the snaps at left guard. John Feliciano, he got some rest games in. They took him out against Miami. Deion and Feliciano both played 55% against Miami. And I think Deion missed a snap against Baltimore, maybe 2. Everyone else played 100% of the snaps. That was their most played starting 5 for the entire season. Dawkins, Butker, Morse, Feliciano, Williams, left to right. Who do you not hear there?
I didn't hear Cody Ford. I don't hear any Cody Ford.
Cody Ford was down with an injury. Okay. He went down against Seattle.
Yep.
Butker came in and played 100% of the snaps against Arizona the following week. The week after that, Feliciano and Brian Winters got the starts against the Chargers. After that, San Francisco on, it was Butker. Ford, we know he's been kind of a journeyman across that offensive line. He needs to find a home. But right now, is he better than Ike Butker coming off that injury? Can he beat out Ike Butker? Because Ike Butker got 100% of the snaps from San Francisco on at left guard.
Here's the deal. I brought up the O-line, not because of our exterior line, not because of Deion Dawkins, not because of Darrell Williams. And then when we did make a draft, we drafted outside, which was not our weakness. Our weakness was inside. That is why I brought this up, because we brought everybody back, but we got absolutely eaten up by the Chiefs. Chris Jones absolutely had Mitch Morse's lunch. He had Feliciano's lunch. He had Ike Butker's lunch. We could not stop that interior line, but we brought that interior line back. Now, most people are going to say, well, hold on, Rico. We made it to the AFC Championship game. Josh Allen threw for 4,500 yards, 35 plus touchdowns. Like, why wouldn't you bring back the whole line? Because we struggled. We had some times where Josh Allen was running for his life outside of the pocket because we were getting pushed back. We couldn't run the damn football. Why? Because we were getting pushed the fuck back. So the fact that we brought in the same guys in interior line, I mean, let's keep it a buck here. When I'm looking at Cody Ford, that boy is a borderline bust. And I'm gonna try to take on the new analogy, because my man Jalen Rose is like, yo, stop calling guys bust. Don't do that. right? Let's use another word. Dud. That boy's a dud. But Ford is a dud. You went from right tackle, having a couple good games at right tackle. Then they're like, all right, let me switch you back to right guard. Right guard, you were absolutely terrible. Then they're like, all right, let's switch you all the way over to left guard. One of the more important positions next to left tackle, and you were just not good. There's a statistic that this guy was getting beat on 80% of his plays. I think I might be exaggerating here, but it wasn't good. Now you bring in Ike Butker that actually played formidable at left guard to finish the year, and I would say Ike Butker's okay. Then you come in and bring in Forrest Lamp. That started all his games last year. And I'm not saying Forrest Lamp is some kind of world beater, but you don't bring in Forrest Lamp and have and then we re-sign Ike Butker if you have the confidence in Cody Ford. Cody Ford is on thin mother effing ice, and he better watch himself because he might have himself traded. You know what I'm saying? Or I don't know if they cut him, but golly, that's going to be interesting, man. That is going to be interesting.
You say that you don't know if they cut him. I mean, they signed Spain to a multi-million-dollar deal, and he was cut after the Kansas City game. I don't know if we'll ever find out what that was actually about. It very well could have just been locker room politics.
We're about to find out.
Forrest Lamp versus Ike Butker versus Cody Ford. I'd probably give the edge to Forrest Lamp.
I agree. I think Forrest Lamp is coming. They didn't bring in Forrest Lamp just to be a camp body. They came in for him to compete. And I guarantee you he's going to compete and he's going to get after that ass. Now, if Cody Ford somehow, some way finds a way to put things together and stay healthy, then perfect. I just don't see it happening. I don't see it happening.
There's no such thing as a camp body in Buffalo. There's no such thing. If you have a Bills jersey on and you're in camp, they are looking at you to see if you are the best at the position. There's no such thing as a camp body. They're not going to bring you in just to have somebody there. They are going to give you a legitimate shot.
They definitely will be give you a legitimate shot, but I will say this though. There's a short leash on these shots that you're going to be able to get. And I feel that my man Ford is on a short leash. We're watching you. We're going to give you the opportunity. It is going to be your job to lose. And you better come with it because we re-signed Ike Butker and we brought in Forrest Lamp. And on top of that, we brought in Doyle. Doyle can play a little bit of left tackle and a little bit of left guard. So fam, Cody Ford, man, you better watch out. You better watch out because you ain't a lock to make this squad completely. You ain't just a lock. You ain't just locked into that spot. So we're soon to find out. Now, furthermore, I gotta bring in my man Kingpin. He says, "Yo, depends on what side. Both guard spots are two different positions. Side dominance.
Yep. Absolutely correct.
So, how do you feel that he's going to dominate on the left side? Is our left side going to be better with Cody Ford? Is it going to
That's the question. That's the question. Look, I did starting lineups and snap counts. Okay. Ford, they started him at right guard the first 3 games and then moved him over to left guard, played 100% against the Raiders, and then it was left guard from there on out unless he was hurt. Because they kicked Brian Winters in the middle of the season, was holding down right guard, and I think we were all screaming about it last season, if I recall correctly, that Winters should not be in there over Butker or Ford. Honestly, could Morse be the problem in the middle of the line? Let me get your thoughts on that.
I was about to get there. Let me just say this on Morse, and a lot of people that are film gurus are going to come for me and let me have it. Did you see the film? Let's look at the film. Cool. Show me the film, right? But my eyes don't deceive me. And there are games where you look at the games that we weren't able to run the ball at all. Just look at those games. Just go to those games and look what's happening to Mitch Morse. That boy is getting bullied in the inside. Bullied. He's better pass blocker than a run blocker, that's for sure, because they move him off his block. But man, if we're trying to establish some type of run, we're trying to keep our quarterback upright and clean. Morse, my friend, man, other than him staying healthy, there's some times where you're like, who the hell just got pushed back like that? Oh my God, was that Morse? So I'm heavily watching Morse. And the fact that he had to take a pay cut on top of that, says a lot as well. So could they have been looking at potentially moving? I want to say moving on from Force because from Morse, because that's jumping the gun here. But I'm definitely thinking that they've been paying attention, and the fact that Feliciano can play center, that's their backup plan. If it doesn't work out, because I mean he's a concussion or 2 away from not having a full career, and we hope that doesn't happen to him. But Morse, I don't want to use the L word in terms of liability, but my goodness, man, there are some times where I'm like, man, who the hell just got pushed back like that? And we lost 2 or 3 yards. Oh shit, that was Mitch Morse. We need a little bit nasty on that line, man. And nastiness we got from Feliciano, nastiness we don't get from Ford. So that's why you got a guy like Tommy Doyle that comes in, a guy like freaking huge 6'8" tackle in terms of Brown. I know those are outside guys, but golly, man, I'm looking for a little nastiness on the inside. So maybe that's what Forrest Lamp brings. But we need something because Ford ain't giving it to us. Neither is Morse. Somebody mentioned Jack Anderson. I don't know about Jack Anderson. We'll see if he makes the team. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's close. Maybe trade bait there.
What's that?
Maybe trade bait there. Baby incognito.
I mean, look what we did last time. Who did we get rid of that we sent to the Browns and we traded
Wyatt Teller.
Teller.
Here's the thing with those trades. When we trade somebody away and then all of a sudden they become all pro, would they have been all pro without the trade? Would they have been all pro on our team? Would they, because he got the opportunity to play on a Browns team after having been lit the fire under his ass with the trade? Oh, this team didn't want me. I got to go in and prove myself now. Boom. We don't know because of that inflection point was the trade. Without that inflection point of the trade, we don't know if Wyatt Teller becomes an all-pro on the Bills roster.
We don't. But here's the optics. He is. And right now, this is what we see. We see how Wyatt Teller is having great success. Now, I think what we got with trading Wyatt Teller was an integral part of getting, I forgot what player. I can't think of what player that we got in return based on what we got in return for his draft, what we got back from. But at the end of the day, Wyatt Teller's on another team and he's doing quite well. So it's one of those questions: do you give time to guys like Cody Ford to develop, or are you done with it? I think it was Diggs. Thank you. I think it had everything to do with Diggs. So we got Diggs with the Wyatt Teller trade. I think it was the 5th round we got for, or 4th or 5th. I can't remember exactly, but that brought Diggs to us. So we can whine and cry about not having Wyatt Teller, but we got Stephon Diggs. But at the end of the day, you start wondering when you look at the old line, like, man, we could have had Wyatt Teller still on the team, but we gave up on him too soon. So then it makes you wonder, hold on a second, what do we still hold on to Ford and see what he's got? You can read Pierre's comment there.
We took the L on Wyatt Teller, Mr. Landers. Yeah, you know what? We absolutely did, but we also don't know. That's time is that extrinsic value for guys. Yeah, I think Cody Ford, out of all of our players, I think that the trenches, we win it in the trenches. I think Cody Ford is the most on a short leash. We talked about Dawson Knox. We've talked about running backs. I think it's Cody Ford is on that short leash the most. He's on thin ice for the most. He might be the most under the microscope the most this training camp.
100%. Richard Rush says, so Rico, are you saying that it's a possible Deion Dawkins, Forrest Lamp, Mango, Williams, and Brown? I'm not saying that at all, because we're paying Mitch Morse a lot of money. We're paying that man a lot of money to play that position, and what he brings to the table is his veteran leadership, his intellect to the line. So you need those things, right? And truth be told, Josh Allen depends on him, right? Making the right reads and telling me what I should see and so on, and calling stuff and checking with the line, man. You know what I mean? Letting your guys know what's going on, everybody in line. But man, there's some great things that come with Mitch Morse, but did he live up to the money we gave him? In my opinion, no, he has not. But did a lot of guys learn alongside him? I'm sure. So there's some value in that. But that O-line is still a little. I'm skeptic on our O-line because we brought everybody back and we failed. To me, we failed on running the rock the way we wanted to last year, and that's in big part due to the left guard position, center position, and right guard. Now, Feliciano coming back healthier and not having to deal with his pec, that's a big one. That's a big one. I hope to see a lot more, but that left guard position is a big old question mark for me. A big old question mark for me. I don't see anybody that's like really doing it for me. So we're about to find out.
Now here, Bobby Ray. They kept some real bum guards over Teller. That's what hurts. LOL. And I don't disagree. And I hope I'm going to flip this to the other side of the line. I hope they don't keep some real bum defensive tackles, defensive ends over the guys we just brought in.
Right. I hear you.
You just talked with one of them too, dude. Mr. Greg Rousseau.
I certainly did talk to Greg Rousseau, and I'll tell you this, man. Great young man, super intelligent. You can tell he's a super intelligent guy. I think he's going to fit in this culture very well. I think we have a very good infusion of youth on this squad. And the fact that his versatility is going to get him onto the field, that's what matters to me. I like a guy that's got a lot of versatility and that's going to get on the field. I don't know too much about him, but I want to see nasty in his game. And I hope he brings the nasty, because one thing that when I look at the RD line that we had last year, did you see any nastiness from our D line?
No, not that I can recall, but here's what I can tell you from having watched him since he was drafted by the Bills.
Talk to me.
Excuse me. So here in Eastern Idaho, when I was in sports television, I covered a guy out of St. Anthony, Idaho, went to the University of Oregon, played under Chip Kelly. His name's Brandon Bear, played 2 seasons for the Eagles at defensive end under Chip Kelly again there. He's a Chip Kelly type guy.
Yep.
This dude, Brandon Bear, always smiling, loves life. And he had Fletcher Cox in the locker room his first year with the Eagles say, "You know what's dangerous about you? You're always smiling. That's dangerous. We're not used like in our culture. We're not used to this. Have you seen Greg Rousseau not smile?
He's always smiling.
The dude is dangerous because he loves life. Nothing is going to phase this kid. Okay, he had a year off of high-level football, and now he's stepping onto the NFL field. That's like getting into the boxing arena against Muhammad Ali. He's going to take punch after punch after punch, and the dude's just going to smile and grow through it. That's the extrinsic value that Greg Rousseau is going to bring. And he is going to bring nasty, sack your quarterback, and then just smile about it. Like, I got your guy, man. What are you going to do about it? Like,
I'm going to tell you this. I'm looking forward to seeing what he brings to the field, because one of the questions I think actually our guy Jeff King, we were able to ask a question, and he says, "Hey, listen, do you think you'll be able to be an impact right away?" And he says, "Yes, absolutely. I'm going to be." I was like, shit, okay. Now we on that. Now we got Carlos Boogie Basham, and that's one person that we're trying to get on and have on the show, because I'd love to see what he wants to bring to the game and get some intel from him and seeing how he feels about the game and being part of the Bills. But we got a stable of youth guys with AJ Epinesa and that nastiness that he showed with throwing the ball back. It takes little things like that to kind of flip a switch for a guy to get it going, right? And just so everybody knows, they patched it up. They're good to go. They're friends, and it's over with, right? That's what teammates and brothers are supposed to do. But let me tell you something, man. When I'm sitting here watching Greg Rousseau get drafted, and I'm sitting here watching Carlos Basham double up get drafted, I'm looking forward to seeing what these guys bring. And you have Jerry Hughes on that squad. Listen, man, let these guys know what's going on, man. What's Truth Hearts got to say?
He said Landers can sell water to fish. LMAO. Well, the joke's on you, because family owns bottled water company. So
I like that.
Yeah, I could sell water to fish. Pierre coming in with that McDermott D-line rotation going to test Rousseau's happiness. No, it won't. Because if the rotation is producing and producing and producing, each one of them gets theirs, I think that's a nice introduction to the NFL for Greg Rousseau. I mean, yeah, you're used to playing all the time and being that guy, but he did have a year off. I mean, he's still a small fish at 6'8" in a big pond.
Let me ask you this. If you're picking one person on this defensive line that you feel is going to have an impact this year on our success, a big impact on our success this year, one lineman on this team, who are you picking?
If Starr comes back, I would pick Starr because that's going to open up the defense for Tremaine Edmonds and Matt Milano coming through because Starr's going to take up two guys. That's a whole other controversy. Why have we not seen Star Lotulelei? And I knew how to say that before he played for the Bills because he played at the University of Utah just 3 hours down the road, and I got to call highlights of his bowl games and his games. Star Lotulelei.
You said it so well because I get sick and tired of hearing Steve say Star Lotulelei or Star Lotulelei. Star Lotulelei. I hate when he says it like that. Yo, fam, Star Lotulelei, man. Star Lotulelei.
Yeah, man.
Come on, Steve.
Hey, and that's a shout out. Listen, the Mountain West corridor that I live in on Interstate 15 from basically Rexburg, Idaho, all the way down to Provo, Utah. Shout out to the Polynesian guys because they are some big guys. They like to eat and they like to ball. Okay, and that's why I was ecstatic when the Bills got Star Lotulelei because there is such a connection with the Polynesian and Pacific Islander culture here in the Mountain West. And like I said, they like to eat and they like to ball out.
I'm very surprised that you took Star Lotulelei as your.
He's gonna take on two guys. If he comes back to what he was before, he's going to take on two guys. That's going to open it up for the person next to him and the two guys behind him.
Which then brings me to Ed Oliver. I think I was too soon on Ed Oliver. I thought he was going to be the difference maker with having Jefferson on the squad, Butler come onto the squad. So I'm thinking, okay, this is the year that Ed Oliver takes off. And he had some really good games, and there's games where he disappeared. So I think this might be the year that Ed Oliver he proves to us why he was a top 10 pick. And I think that he comes out and he balls out heavy.
If Starr is there and returns to form, Ed Oliver will do that because he had a year without him there.
He did?
He did not get to benefit from Starr last year.
And I will say this, I don't think it has anything to do with Starr. I just feel like he's going to be playing in his rightful position because Starr, to me, there were moments where Starr was, although we brought Starr in and we had a stretch of bad games and Starr was in the middle of that and we were just getting gashed left, right, center in the run and just getting moved all over the place. And Starr was there. So I'm not going to sit here and because Starr is coming back, he's going to be the difference as to why things happen. Will he help? Absolutely. But I feel that going into Ed Oliver's third year, I think this is the time that he comes in and says, okay, it's time. Let's get this thing rolling. And I'm going to show you guys why I'm a top 10 pick. I'm looking forward to it. Now, if we don't see that, shoot, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. Man says, yo, watch McDermott say F it and switch it to 3-4. He wouldn't do that.
Never. And you know what? McDermott has gone on record too saying it's Leslie's defense. So that would be on Leslie Frazier to do that. And just ask Bruce Smith about how hard it is to go from 3-4 to 4-3 and back and keep making those. I could see Harrison Phillips, because last year was his first good year off of that injury. Right. So now maybe he's fully confident through an entire offseason, through an actual training camp. We could see a horrible Harry come out and produce, and that would be a big ol' benefit, but a surprise too. And, I'm all here for it.
I'm here for it too. Now, we're going to switch it up. And our last topic of the night, Julio Jones to the effing Titans. Now, before I get your take on this Julio Jones to the Titans, I got to make myself very clear to people. Going forward, when you see and you hear that a certain team has no money to sign a big player or whatever the case is, take that thought and throw it in the trash. because it has nothing. It's not going to stop a team that wants a player. I bring this up because Julio Jones has been traded to the Titans, and the Titans had the same amount, if not less, because we made some changes, of cap room of $3 million and change, right? That's what they had. We had that amount too until we restructured Stephon Diggs, which brought us up to about 11 mil. So the team with less cap was still able to bring in Julio Jones. So when it comes to we don't have any money crowd, guys, there's so many ways to finagle. There's so many ways to move the numbers. You know what I'm saying? Just ask Joe Budden. Joe Budden will tell you, because there's an accountant issues that's going on right now with him and his boys, right? You can move numbers around all you want, right? But you can make things happen. So the Titans have brought in Julio Jones. Now, question for you, sir. Do you think the Bills were even in any way interested in Julio Jones?
Here's what it was. Here's Brandon Beane on the phone. Tennessee GM. Hey, what's it going to take? Second round.
What is it going to take?
You want a first round pick and us to take his entire contract?
Yes, I do.
Bye. Nope. Bye.
Hello?
See ya.
Hello?
Yeah.
Brandon? Brandon, you still there? No? Your phone? Damn it. I thought we had him.
Yeah. There's no doubt in my mind Brandon Beane made 2, maybe 3 calls. Hey, what's the price now? Okay, still a first? Bye. Nope.
But when
it's that value thing again with Brandon Beane. Surprise. Brandon Beane looks at every play. It's like trading stocks, okay? Which I've done. Speaking of trading stocks, don't we have to do we have a little shout out to a company?
Symbols. Listen, man, if you guys haven't jumped on Symbols, man, you guys need to jump on the Symbols. It is your sports stock exchange. If you think you know sports, you think you know baseball, basketball, football, and a team's trending, right? If they're ascending, if they're trending down, if they're trending up, jump on the Symbols. I'm telling you right now, use the code Fanatics. You get $10 towards what you're trying to do. I've invested in the Bears. I think the Bears over a year or two are going to be a team in the NFC North that's going to be something to deal with. So jump on yours. If you want to jump on the Bills and you feel the Bills are looking good, you better jump on it now because that money is going up on the Bills. So jump on it now. I know I've made a couple dollars with the Bears, and they still haven't really done much. So wait till they start going up. The Panthers, that's a good team to jump into. I'm trying to go into the NBA and trying to pick a team that I want to jump into. So y'all get on that Symbols right this second. Use the code Fanatics. Let's go.
See, that's where that intrinsic versus extrinsic value comes in. That extrinsic value is the time. You're talking about the time for the Bears. In a couple of years, they're going to be worth so much more than what they are intrinsically valued at right now. Okay, so Brandon Beane treats his players just like a stock market trader would treat a stock. Okay, here's what the stock is valued at right now. I think this stock will go up in a few years' time. It's that development. It's that time for Dawson Knox. It's that time for Cody Ford to see if they make that ascension. And the stock's relative value to what they are, to what we want them to be, versus where they could go if they're not performing. Okay, versus contract. Oh, here's a second part to it. Mm-hmm. Okay. Julio's contract for what we might get, yeah, they might be even. But contract for Gabe Davis versus what we're getting for Gabe Davis, there's that imbalance that we want in our favor, okay? And we're not going to take the value of giving Gabe Davis fewer snaps. That would be a decrease of value for Gabe Davis by putting Julio Jones on the field, taking snaps away. Now, look, I tweeted out at you a joke when we were first talking about Julio Jones when he came on the market, and it was the Joker. It was the Joker. Heath Ledger is the Joker saying it's about sending a message because some people just wanted to see Dawson Knox fail, and they're going to take and they don't want to take his reps away. They want him to get all those reps and keep dropping touchdowns And Julio Jones being on the field would take that away. So they were making these asinine. I want to say adjustments. That's not the right word, but comparisons to say, oh, I don't want Julio on my team because he's going to take away from Dawson Knox's failure because I don't want Dawson Knox. It is absolutely ridiculous. Okay. Who the hell would think like that? Okay.
Bills fans, some of them.
Yes.
There's some crazy thought process. I mean, it's not even thought process. There's Bills fans that just absolutely love everything about the team, right?
Oh, yeah.
They don't like change. So they got used to the 500 yards, but give or take 500 yards of Gabe Davis and the 7 touchdowns of Gabe Davis and all of that good stuff. So like, we don't want to change that. But hold on, you're going to get a Hall of Fame receiver that's 31 years of age, and you want to hold on to Gabe Davis's 500 yards when you can get 13? Like, it boggles my mind. Now, here's my question.
But then again, here's where I was going. Your value relative to contract, because Gabe Davis's contract allows us to have a guy like Stephon Diggs. So you have to look at the entire puzzle piece of where do I put Julio? It's not just if it were just on stats. Hell yeah, bring in Julio Jones. Hell yeah, bring in Julio Jones. Now you gotta find the money to do it. Which okay, we've seen the New Orleans Saints make a mockery. We've seen the New Orleans Saints make a mockery of the salary cap. Okay. But if you want Gabe Davis to keep going up to make that ascension, hold
on a second. Are you telling me? Let me read Pierre's comment and I'll get on to you. So take snaps away from a possibility, a wish, instead of giving those snaps to a sure thing. What if Gabe Davis getting more snaps exposes him and he's not?
It's always the it's the NFL is everything is a gamble in the NFL. Everything. Bringing Julio Jones. What if Julio Jones's presence had a mental effect on Diggs and Diggs had a breakdown?
Then you're not. What kind of professional athlete are you? An elite professional athlete that you're bothered by another elite athlete. What
did we talk about earlier in the show?
It should step your game up.
Yes.
Elite
yes.
athletes.
Yes.
That's the difference. You're saying, what do you guys say? I was talking about Dawson Knox. Is Dawson Knox elite?
Oh, I was talking about the Osaka thing. Elite professional athletes.
Yes.
Step your game up. Yes.
This is on the field. On the field.
Okay.
Yes, I'll step my game up. Behind a freaking microphone, I'm not buying it. On the field. Okay, let's do this. Let's just do this. I'm on the show with you. All right. And I don't know, who's your favorite on air personality, would you say? Who's on there?
Man, I don't know. You know what? It would have been no before Dan Le Batard. Dan Le Batard was a very sound voice of reason.
Dan Le Batard. You bring in Dan Le Batard on a show right now with us, right? And then I bring in Jim Rome. Do you think you're gonna cower and just be second fiddle, or do you step your game up and say, I can be on the same panel with these guys? I know for me, I'm stepping my fucking game up. I'm not going to be a bit and then cower down. So if Julio Jones were to come to the damn Bills, Stephon Diggs is going to say, I embrace it. Let's rock it. You take that side. I take this side. Who are they going to cover? They got to do something. I depend on my quarterback.
That's the ideal of what we want, right? That is absolutely what we want, but we don't know for sure until it happens.
But here's what we do know. We do know for sure that Julio Jones would bring it because he's shown over 11 years season that he consistently brings it. What we don't know is if Gabe Davis is going to give us the same production, if not more, next year. We don't know that. What we do know is we could do that. And
but are we only talking about 2021? Sure. Or are we talking? Okay. Because Brandon Beane is not only thinking about 2021, he's thinking about 2022, 2023, 2024. He knows who these freshmen in college are going to be. And he has an eye. He knows their names. He has an eye on their development. He's thinking big term. Because if you think about it from management down, management, ownership, they're thinking business, 5 years. Well, they have 5 to 10 years all the way down to this year, right?
Yeah.
Brandon Beane has 5 years down to this year. Sean McDermott, he has this year down to today. Assistant coaches, they have this offseason down to today. So Brandon Beane is not only going to think about 2021, he's going to think about 2022, 2023, and beyond. Now, he doesn't want to mortgage those future years like we've seen other GMs do in the past just for this year. Now, there's that balance and that value, that intrinsic. He is a tangible results guy. He is a Hall of Famer. There's no reason the Bills shouldn't want him on this roster for this year if you're only looking at 2021. Brandon Beane's trying to be very, very smart about this.
I got you. I got you. Now hear me out.
Yeah.
When we are looking at the future, we're looking at the future. We're built, and that's why we draft young players for the future. But the message when you bring in a Julio Jones isn't just for the future, it is the now, because we don't know what's going to happen next year. My window to win the Super Bowl, because everybody's got a window, our window is as large as it's going to be right now. So why don't you bring in Julio Jones? Because you have an opportunity to win the Super Bowl right now. I'm not thinking about 2, 3, 4 years from now. If I'm a GM, I'm thinking about winning right now. My building for the future, yes. But if I can add a piece that lets me win right now and gives me a great opportunity over everybody else, I'm doing it. And that's what the Titans did. The Titans have their running back right now that, how old is Henry? Henry's on the good side.
Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you.
Henry's on the good side of 30, and meaning I'm underneath it. So this is where you got to take advantage of your running back, because they always say once they hit 30, it's a wrap. Unless you're Adrian Peterson and you're just a freaking unicorn. But once you hit 30, it's a wrap. So you have a young running back in Derrick Henry. You have Brown, that's a freaking stud. Then you have Tannehill, that's a very serviceable quarterback, a very good quarterback, right? And now you're bringing Julio Jones? Fam, come on, man. Like, they are looking at it right now. That is my window. Oh, but we need guys for the future. Fam, all that is great. But right now is what I want. I want to win right now. Look at the Lakers. The Lakers are like, I want to win right now. Let me bring LeBron. Let me bring AD. Oh, shit. What did we just do last year? We won the damn championship. Banner number 7.
What happened? Okay. All right. Yes, they won it. And then look what happened the following year. LeBron quitting up the floor, walking up the floor. The other team had possession on the other side of the court for a good 15 seconds before LeBron James finally walked his ass up across the floor in an elimination game. Okay, so you might get that honeymoon period. Of course, I want to win the Super Bowl. I'm just going to argue to do it in a smart and responsible way, and I'm trying to think like Brandon Beane does. If I could just sell you my left hand and say, here, I'll give you my left hand and you give me Julio Jones, I'd probably do it. I would probably do it because I believe Julio Jones would be enough to put us over the top without a doubt. I think we could go and win the Super Bowl without Julio Jones.
We can, 100%.
So where's that cost evaluation come in?
Yeah, I hear you.
Does Julio Jones's cost right now versus we can win it without him? It's all about the cost and the value.
We listen at the end of the day, and I think we can both agree on this. Where I'm, and I think you agree. I'm very happy with our roster right now. I'm very happy.
Yes, sir.
But when you can add to it, why not? Right? That's the way I look at it. But now that Julio is on the Titans, and we'll touch on that just a tad bit, but let's look at our roster now. I'm extremely happy with having Diggs, Emmanuel Sanders, Gabe Davis as our deep threat. People don't want to talk about not Emmanuel Sanders, Gabe Davis as our deep threat, but he was our best deep threat last year over John Brown, which was supposed to be our deep threat. And we have role players in Hollister, Dawson Knox, and we have our stable of running backs. So, and our main piece to the freaking success of this team in Josh Allen. So I'm very pleased with what we got. But man, if we could have added Jones, man, number 11 next to number freaking 14, shit, man, that would have been something. That would have been something else, man. You would have had to really focus on who you want to double up. Okay,
so here's the thing with Julio Jones now going to the Titans. and I heard this argument earlier in today, and I was listening to somebody, and I don't remember who asked the question. It might have been on One Bills Live. Who's the better piece for Julio Jones? Would it have been Matt Ryan, who Julio Jones built his Hall of Fame career off, balls being thrown by Matt Ryan?
For sure.
It's not Tannehill does not meet the level of Matt Ryan. I think it's clear cut in my mind, Matt Ryan. So is it Matt Ryan, the benefit, more of a benefit to Julio Jones, or is it going to be Derrick Henry? Because Henry handing the ball off, I imagine the Titans are going to be really, really close to 50-50 with Derrick Henry in the backfield, A.J. Brown, and Julio Jones. Who's the bigger help? If you're Julio Jones and you had to pick one player to help you out, Matt Ryan or Derrick Henry?
I mean, you can't do it that way. You got to look at it. You got to look bigger picture, though. Matt Ryan as my quarterback is cool. Who's my running back? Otto? Is he gonna fill the box? Is anybody gonna be stacking the box for Otto? No. Is anybody gonna be stocking the box for Derrick Henry? Absolutely. Does that make it open for me? Absolutely. Do I have a quarterback that can throw the damn ball? Absolutely. I'm looking at the freaking Titans. I'm looking at Derrick Henry being a better fit for me. It's a bigger picture than that. You can't just look at it Derrick Henry or Matt Ryan. Who's my quarterback? Will he throw the ball? Because that's what his requirements were. I want a quarterback that is going to whip the ball, is going to throw the ball. And Tannehill, I don't care what anybody says, he can throw the ball. He definitely can. So we're about to find out what these Titans are all about. Some people feel like it's going to be useless. What receiver has ever gone to a team and helped them win a Super Bowl? That was one of the questions that was out there. And there was like two quarterbacks, one of them, two receivers. It was Keyshawn to the Bucks. When Keyshawn got traded to the Bucks, they won the Super Bowl, right? That was a difference maker they needed. So could Julio be the difference? We'll see. We'll find out.
Well, I mean, you can always bring up John Gruden getting traded to the Bucks as well, being the big part of that.
That helps too.
You know, but Pierre coming in, we had the smart way. Let me pull this one up. We tried the smart way from 2000 to 2017. Then big balls entered the GM room, making serious notes, and here we are. Can't be scared all the time. I don't think we are scared. There's not an ounce of scared in Brandon Beane whatsoever. He pulled the entire plug on Doug Whaley's tenure as GM in 2018. Okay, he didn't really have a lot of say in the 2017 draft. We know that. 2018, they had to get us on the cap. And a lot of people looked at 2018 Josh Allen, his rookie year, as, oh, he wasn't very good, and that was kind of on him, and that's why the Bills sucked, and Josh Allen was a rookie and just wasn't very – no, the Bills pulled the plug on the Doug Whaley era so they could reset themselves. He did it. He built this team being very smart and aggressive. We saw those trades. His first season, wide receiver from Philadelphia and then Sammy Watkins getting shipped out. Guy trashed Buffalo. His name's slipping my mind. Didn't want to come here. The wide receiver from Philadelphia we got 2017.
Oh, you're talking about I know you're talking about
Jordan Matthews.
Yeah, Jordan Matthews.
You know, we saw Brandon Beane be aggressive with those types of trades, trying to do what they said now and for the future. I still think he's holding that now and for the future type aggressive attitude. And that's maybe why we didn't go all in on Julio Jones.
So Titans with Julio, are they better for it?
Part of my gut reaction is that kind of stinks of desperation. Are they to cover up Tannehill? I think Tannehill is still, I don't want to say that he's flawed. I think that's going a little bit too far. I don't think he's as good as a Patrick Mahomes or a Josh Allen or a Tom Brady. I think that they kind of are trying to cover up and do it in other areas and provide him with more weapons.
Same thing we did with Josh Allen.
Maybe saying that stinks of desperation is a little bit too harsh, but they're definitely trying to go above and beyond to provide the quarterback with things that will help him be successful. It's a soft way of putting it.
Here's what I think you're trying to say. not desperation, but relevance. By bringing a Julio Jones to the Titans, they remain relevant, right? Big name on the squad is Derrick Henry. Now you're bringing a Julio Jones, it's a different ballgame. You look at the Bills, big name on the Bills is Josh Allen. Then you go to Stephon Diggs. Then you go to Trey White on the defensive side, right? So you have that. So bringing a Julio Jones not only brings a bit of relevance, but it's like, okay, the AFC South, who's in the AFC South? The freaking Texans? Not you're gonna do it. The Colts, they're definitely gonna be something that you look into. So they're gonna be there ready to compete. They need to compete. That AFC South is gonna be it's gonna be a tough one. So here come these Titans. So it's gonna be very interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what Julio looks like on this team. I know that AJ Brown offered number 11 to him, and he says, "Nah, man, keep that. I'm gonna start new." So we're gonna find out what number Julio Jones is gonna be. But
for Josh Allen, we talked so much about the interior offensive line getting pushed back.
Yep.
Maybe Josh Allen doesn't need the Julio Jones. Maybe he just needs that trench, that pocket to be just a little bit cleaner. Just a little. What if that's where Brandon Beane is going with this? It's like, yeah, I like Julio, great player, Hall of Famer. He's got my vote for the Hall of Fame. Not that GM's vote, but he would have my vote. We're gonna try making that pocket just a little bit cleaner, and you'll see Josh Allen take that major step above a Ryan Tannehill.
I you know what? I'm with you, and I thought that's what we were gonna do, but we didn't. We didn't even go and take a look at to keep the pocket clean on the inside. We decided to go on the outside and bring in and double up on two tackles.
That's an assumption that the tackles will stay tackle. We drafted Cody Ford as a tackle.
Yeah, but these guys are 6'8". I've never seen a 6'8" freaking guard.
Yes, you can say that too, but you never know what Brandon Beane and Brian Dable have up their sleeves. You don't know.
No question.
You don't know. Because now they have trade bait to go get a guard.
Yeah, they do. They definitely do.
We haven't even talked about cornerback 2.
What about cornerback 2? Talk to me.
I think I tweeted at you that cornerback 2 this year is going to be Pro Bowl because they're not going to want to throw at Trey White. So they're going to be throwing cornerback 2's way a hell of a lot. And if cornerback 2 steps up, no matter if it's Levi Wallace or Dane Jackson or whoever else they might bring in, they're going to get a lot of looks to attempts to break up passes, to come up with interceptions. And that's going to get a lot of film out there.
Let me tell you something. And film gurus out there, y'all can come at me. I don't mind. I have thick skin, but I don't think anybody was scared to throw at Trey White last year. And statistically it shows. He gave up 6 touchdown passes. So nobody's scared to throw at Trey White. And I'm not that he should be a fearful corner to throw at, but I don't see them like, oh, let's stay away from Trey White. We're gonna just target here. They threw wherever they wanted to throw. Now maybe could it have been a down year for Trey White in terms of what we expected from him, especially because he signed such a huge deal. But I think he allowed six touchdown passes. So I'm just saying, I don't think they're so fearful that they're gonna just target cornerback number 2. But we'll see. We will see. But I mean, if I'm going to pick my poison as to who I'm going to throw at, I'm definitely not going to throw at Trey White. I'll rather throw at Dane Jackson or Levi Wallace. That in itself.
You're putting Dane Jackson ahead of Levi Wallace?
I'm not. Here's the thing. Levi Wallace has fought off every freaking guy they have thrown his way. So maybe Dane Jackson is the warrior that he cannot fend off. And Dane Jackson comes in and says, sorry, fam. You fended off the Josh Normans. You fended off the freaking who am I missing here? We cut him and we brought him back, and EJ Gaines.
Gaines, yep.
There was another one, Johnson, I believe.
Phillip Gaines.
Dude, there's a plethora of cornerbacks that we've thrown the way of Levi Wallace, and he's fended off each and every one of them. Right. So maybe Dane Jackson is the foe that he can't fend off, and he takes it. But it's going to be a battle for that spot, and we're going to find out what it is, because depth is always great to have. So if Dane Jackson ends up being cornerback 2, then we've got great depth in Levi Wallace. So we'll see how that plays out. We'll definitely see how that plays out.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. But folks, that's it for us. This is the Rico Report. I was joined by my guy, Mr. Jeff Landers. We did it up today. I typically don't go this long, Jeff Landers, but the fact that you came through,
we both know how to talk a lot.
Hey, listen, man, that's what we do. That's what we're supposed to do, right? And talk Bills. I mean, I know a lot of people didn't like that fact that we didn't talk all Bills football, but you know what? It's the off season. Let's keep it a book. There's not a whole lot that we can say, and these reporters out there can't even report on what's going on with the team. So let's keep it real with each other, folks. But we had a great one. My guy Jeff Landers came through from Idaho. What part of Idaho? North Idaho, South
Eastern Idaho. So I can see Wyoming from my in-laws' house. Literally, I can see Wyoming. So shout out. I know a lot of our people may actually have met Josh Allen, but having been so far away from the Bills, I'm actually 1 degree away from Josh Allen because there's a girl I covered playing high school volleyball here in Idaho Falls, went to the University of Wyoming, knows both Josh and Jacob Hollister. She went same year as them at Wyoming. I covered her playing volleyball here in Idaho Falls. Her mom is actually my daughter's elementary principal. So it's like, dude, I've got an. That's why I keep the beard, because I didn't have a beard when I was on TV, and this gives me about 5 minutes of anonymity.
Listen, man, you're a celebrity out there. Like, you keep telling me how much people you know and all that good stuff. It's craziness to me. But folks, this is it for us. I appreciate the love that you guys continue to bring us. We try to bring you the content so you guys have something to watch and listen to all off season until the start of the season, and that's when we really bring it. Folks, it's been a great one. I got my guy Jeff Landers. Look forward to seeing more of Jeff across all our platforms, across the shows of Dave and Steve and our guys on the weekend. So listen, guys, we're doing big things at BF. Look out for more news coming your way. We're always trying to set the stage and trend set, and we're going to do it up, man. So, folks, have yourself a fantastic evening. And, folks, enjoy yourself. You guys already know what I tell you guys all the time, man. Be kind to one another, man. Stop with always negativity, man. We're not about that, man. Positivity always. So, until next time, it's me and your boy, Jeff, and we're out.
Go Bills.